In this video, we're going to debunk 5 of the biggest myths when it comes to using subbies long term. Firstly, it's not a grey area and it's not against the law. And it's not as scary as the payroll companies want you to believe, but you do need to get your ducks in a row. So let's get straight into it. 1. The subcontractor wants to be self-employed. So you've asked the subcontractor to come onto the books as an employee and they said, no thank you. So what more can you do? Well, just because the subcontractor wants to be self-employed and may have always been self-employed, that doesn't automatically mean that they're genuinely self-employed, and it's not up to them either. As the person offering the work, HMRC clearly state it's your responsibility to determine whether the subcontractor should be employed or self-employed. How that is done comes down to how you work with the subcontractor on a day-to-day basis, and not what the subcontractor wants. And being registered for CIS doesn't make them genuinely self-employed either. 2. You must employ a subcontractor if you use them for more than 13 weeks. The 13 weeks, the 6 months, the 12-month rules, you've probably all heard about it. They don't exist. They're all lies and scare tactics that the payroll companies have put together to try to convince you to use their service. This myth does come from a bit of truth. There is a law called Agency Worker Regulations, AWR, which is in place to protect employees and agency workers. AWR states that after 13 weeks, an agency worker, if certain criteria is met, is entitled to the same employment rights as an existing employee who's doing the same job. It has nothing to do with self-employment and it's got nothing to do with using subbies long term. Repeat after me, there is no law to how long you can use a subcontractor. 3, you can't give a subcontractor a van or a uniform. Again, another scare tactic. You can give your subcontractors a van, you can even give them a uniform. They don't even need to raise an invoice and they can still be genuinely self-employed. You've probably been told the complete opposite, that if you do any of those things, then your subcontractors should be employed. It's complete Provided you have genuine business reasons behind why you work with subcontractors in the way you do, you can work with them however you want, within reason. 4. IR35 states you cannot use subcontractors long term. This is a more of a recent scare tactic which all the payroll companies have jumped onto. Can you see a bit of a trend? Now, IR35 is real and was brought in to tackle individuals who, in an attempt to save tax and avoid being classified as an employee, set themselves up as a limited company. So if the subcontractors you use are not limited companies, IR35 will never apply. A word of caution though, what will apply is employment status, which applies to sole trader subcontractors. If you're unsure which is which, just give me a shout. 5. HMRC do not like firms using the same subcontractors long term. The truth is, HMRC do not give a monkeys about how long you've been using subbies, or even how many you've got. What they really care about is how you work with the subbies, because it's the day-to-day relationship that makes a subbie employed or self-employed. And it's this relationship which HMRC apply the law to when checking subcontractors' employment status. But the law surrounding self-employment has been in place for decades. What's happened is how firms work with their subcontractors during this time has obviously changed significantly, meaning the relationship can be misinterpreted. This is why having a contract in place between you and the subcontractors is so important. Not only does it set clear boundaries between you and the subbies, but by reflecting the true working relationship, it can be used to clearly demonstrate that how you work with the subbies is on a genuinely self-employed basis. If someone stands in front of you and says this is a grey area, well, they're admitting they don't know what they're talking about. It's not a grey area at all. It's really quite clear and it doesn't need to cost a fortune to you or your subbies. If you want to learn a bit more, you can grab a free copy of our book, How to Use Subcontractors Long Term and Keep HMRC Happy Without Using a Payroll Company. It'll help you if you think you can find it hard to prove your subbies are genuinely self-employed, you value your business enough to want to act compliantly in the eyes of HMRC, you want to keep HMRC happy and keep control of your payroll, and you value your subbies enough to not want them to lose 15 quid just to get paid. I'll put a link below. Or, for the cost of a bacon roll a week, HardHats guaranteed you can use your subbies long term and keep HMRC happy. Just get in touch and we can have an honest discussion about your setup.